Hey guys, it's Missy, and welcome back to Books and a Baby. Yes, you. So today I'm going to be doing my mid-month wrap-up, and I'm just going to let you know the books that I read and how I felt about them. So let's get started. So the first book that I read this month was The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I didn't rate this on Goodreads because I read it and didn't understand it at all. So I'm going to be rereading this, I think, in the month of January or February, and hopefully I'll have more time to sit down and actually focus, because I think I missed a lot of this book. So The Starless Sea, no rating. This is about our main character named Zachary Ezra Rollins, who is in college, and he finds a book in the college library that starts off with a bunch of stories, and then it comes to a part where part of his life is written in this book, and he goes about trying to figure out why his life story is in this book, and it looks like it was written way before he was ever born. The next one that I read was Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Colehurst. This is a female-female romance set in a fantasy world, and I think it's important that people know that it is not really a super fantastical story. It is definitely more of a romance, because I went into this thinking that it was going to be a fantasy story with two females who fall in love, but it was definitely more just about their romance, which is fine, but it was not marketed that way, in my opinion. So, I only gave this 1 star because the political and magical things that happen in this book were way more interesting to me, but they seemed like they were just plot devices to try to move along the romance. So 1 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Last House Guest by Megan Miranda. This was awesome. This is a book about a girl named Avery who ends up working for a family in the town of Littleport, Maine. And this is where a lot of people go for summer vacation homes. It feels very much like Gossip Girl, where they go to the Hamptons, but not quite as high class. There is the family that Avery works for, named the Lomans, and their daughter the previous year went missing and was found dead. And so this is the story of Avery trying to figure out what happened to Sadie, because Sadie was one of her best friends, and it was just so good. I enjoyed my time reading this one. It was fun. Then we have The Whisper Network by Chandler Baker. Let's see if I can get this to focus a little bit. There you go. So this is a story of 4 women who work for this company. They're all lawyers, and then one of the characters is a cleaning lady at the company, and the CEO ends up dying, and this man who is very inappropriate at work with women is kind of like the next person to be recommended as the new CEO. And so these women end up adding his name to a list of men that's going around that are considered men who are sexual harassment type people in the city of Dallas. And this is the story going on about them adding his name to the list and what happens because he got his name added to the list, and also just because he is the next person to be CEO, there's a lot of things talked about in this book that I thought were very interesting, because there are a lot of women who work in certain areas that do have to worry about this a lot. I thankfully used to work with a bunch of men. I was the only girl, the only female on my shift for a while, and I never had any problems with sexual harassment. That, like, the one time I did have any problems with someone, I told him, like, look, that's not gonna happen. This is not okay. You know, I didn't report anything, but I just kind of told him, no, you gotta leave me alone. Like, don't do that. And it stopped, so I didn't have to report anything. But I do know that there are plenty of women who have problems with men when they work in a environment where it is dominated by men. And as the mom of a girl, I definitely want to teach her that that's not okay. It's never okay for somebody to make you feel like you have to do something to get ahead, in a sexual way that they wouldn't have to do. So I thought this book was good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I did have some problems with it, but overall, I think this book is one that a lot of women need to read because it is important. Then I read Moon Called by Patricia Briggs. I got the prompt to read a I got the prompt to read a urban fantasy for the Magical Readathon, and so I picked this one up, and I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was definitely an urban fantasy that I'm not used to, because the main character was a part of the world. She wasn't just like a human who found out. I used to really love the Sookie Stackhouse books, but she's just like, she's technically just a normal person who really wants to be a part of their world. But in this one, you know, Mercy is a skinwalker who changes into a coyote. And then there's werewolves and vampires and all of that jazz. So this was actually fun, and I do see myself continuing on with this series. The covers are not my favorite, but I do think it's interesting. So, and then finally, this is the book that I will be finishing today. It is The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto by Mitch Albom, and this is a book about Frankie Presto and his life from the time that he was born till he dies. The book starts off at his funeral, and it's told from the perspective of music, and I thought that was really interesting. And also we get interviews from different people that he encountered in his life. Frankie Presto ended up working with he didn't work with Hank Williams, but like he sold Hank Williams a car. He worked with Elvis Presley. He worked with a bunch of blues artists. He just did a lot, and I'm really enjoying this story. I have a little over 100 pages left, and I am excited to read this. So those are the books that I finished so far this month. If you've read any of these, please let me know down below what you thought of them. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can see when I post new videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.